I think I'm doing this correctly. All right, good evening. Those of you out there who are watching our live streaming of the open house. My name is Mr. Johnston. We're going to be with you in just a moment. We're going to give other families a few more minutes to get logged in here. So if you could just please be patient with us, we'll get started in just a few minutes. For those of you that are just logging in or opening up the link, we're going to give our guests just a few more minutes. I did put a little message in the chat that you are welcome to post questions. You may not have any at this moment, but maybe as we go, a few things will pop up. Go ahead and post those in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them as we go. All right, we'll wait just about one more minute. We're close to 100 people now watching, which is fantastic. That's up quite a few from just another minute ago. So we'll give it just another minute and then we will get started. We'll do some introductions and talk about what the next half hour to 45 minutes or so will entail. All right. Well, good evening and welcome everybody. My name is Tom Johnston and I am one of two assistant directors at the Math and Science Academy. I'm here with a couple other staff members and we're going to talk to you about a little bit about ourselves and a little bit about MSA. I know that many of you have already registered or sent in your application, but you're excited and you'd like to hear a little bit more about MSA. So we're going to go do a quick round of introductions. We have a short PowerPoint to kind of go through some of the basic overview things about MSA, and then we'll have a little bit of Q&A time towards the end. So again, my name is Tom Johnston. I am the assistant director for the middle school. This is my 4th year in that role at MSA and 6th year overall at the school. This is my 14th year in education overall. I'm just going to go around the screen and I'll introduce Ms. Punsack next, so let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Joelle Punsack, and I am the enrollment coordinator here at MSA. I am also I also take care of your student schedules and do the state reporting. I have been at MSA, involved at MSA for over 13 years. I've had 3 children who have graduated from MSA, and this is my 8th year, I believe, in the office.
All right, and Ms. Gravine?
Yeah, I'm Ms. Gravine. I am the high school counselor at MSA, and this will be my 5th year. And I'll explain in a few slides on some of the things that I can assist students and families with.
All right, Mr. G.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm John Gabretsky. I'm the director at MSA. I've been here for 6 years. I guess I won't go into how many other places I've been at or how long it's been. Just to suffice to say that I've been in multiple different educational settings, and if you are selected to go to MSA, you will be in the best high school and middle school in the state of Minnesota. So I guess good luck to you, and enjoy your time listening to the rest of the people.
Ms. Froberg?
Hi, so I'm Mrs. Froberg, and I've been at MSA, I think like 8 years now. I started out teaching math, and I've been part of the admin team for 6 years, I think. I've been in education forever and a day. I beat all of these guys. MSA is a fabulous school, and I will be speaking later on our activities. I work mostly with the high school and then, of course, the activities.
And Ms. Knudsen?
Hello, I am Ms. Knudsen. I am the middle school counselor, so I work with students grades 6 through 8. Like Mrs. Gravine, later on in the presentation, I'll kind of go over some of the things that I do with middle school students and the school as a whole.
All right, I am going to share my screen. You should all be seeing. Oh, I don't think share screen. Let me see how this works. I'm going to give it just a moment to make sure. Yep, I think it is, in fact, working perfect. So you should be seeing a PowerPoint presentation. It's not long, but we do have some basic information that we would like to share with you. So first up, I believe we have Ms. Punsack with some information on registration and the lottery and transportation.
Sure. Most of you here on the session, I believe, have applied already for enrollment. And the important thing is that you apply between December 15th and February 1st to be part of our lottery. And a lottery is needed if we have more applications than spots available. And typically each year we do. We need to have a lottery. We have hundreds of applications each year. 6th grade, we have several hundred applications each year. And so it's very important that you apply between that time. The last day to apply is February 1st. So please apply by February 1st if you have not done so already. I already know that we will definitely need a lottery for most grade levels. February 9th is when we will be conducting the lottery. We have a very good number of people that witness the lottery. And then once the lottery is done, the lottery list is brought to the board of directors and they approve that. And then on February 26th, all families that applied for enrollment, whether you're on the wait list or you were admitted, you will get an email on February 26th. So please watch your email, the one that you provided on the application, the online application. Admitted families will receive an email with further registration. That registration needs to be done by March 12th to hold a spot for your child. If we do not receive it by March 12th, then your spot will be given up to the next person on the wait list. The student wait list will, like as I said earlier, you'll get an email with the wait list number if your child's on the wait list. You can definitely contact me, and I've got my email right there. It's also on the front page of our website. You can contact me to find out if possibly somebody didn't take the spot by March 12th and that there's a spot available for your child. And this lists the number of students for each grade level that the board has approved for next year. So for grade 6, we have 88 students. Grade 7 and 8, we have 90 students each. Grade 9, 85 students. Grade 10, 75, 11, 65, and grade 12, 58 students. Regarding transportation, we're asked this question quite often. Will my child get transportation to school if they're admitted? And the answer is yes and no. If you live within the District 833 boundaries, within the South Washington County boundaries, you will receive transportation. Everyone else will not receive transportation, so it's important to know that. I listed the cities, Cottage Grove, Gray Cloud Island, Newport, St. Paul Park, and Woodbury are the cities you would want to live in if you are admitted and you want transportation to and from our school. Certain parts of Woodbury by the Stillwater boundaries are not eligible, but if you are admitted, we can talk about that more at a further informational meeting.
Ms. Punsack, there's a question in the chat. This person says they plan to move to Minnesota in the summer. Can we still apply for the upcoming school year, even though they're not residents of Minnesota yet, but will become residents at a later time?
Yes. Okay. So I believe the answer is yes. John, Mr. G, can you add to that?
He may have had to step away.
Okay, I think the answer is yes. I'm almost positive the answer is yes. You have to have residency by, I think, the end of June.
So it says on other questions, how many students do you typically let in for 12th grade or for high school? And is the application just the short form on the website?
It is the short form on the website. For juniors and senior, you would need to meet with our academic counselor, high school academic counselor, Mrs. Graveen, definitely, because we have our graduation guidelines and we want to make sure that your child will be successful and be able to graduate at MSA.
I think there's some questions about enrollment numbers and how many do we admit. So maybe just to clarify a little bit, as an example, we have the 12th grade enrollment is 58 students. If we have 60 juniors, let's say, that want to return to MSA for next school year, we actually wouldn't be enrolling any new 12th grade students. So if our returning number is greater than current capacity or the capacity set by the board of directors, then all applicants automatically go to a wait list. If our returning students drop below this number here, then we would admit the difference. So if we only had 57 seniors returning, we would hold a lottery to admit one senior, and then the remaining would go on the waiting list. So hopefully that explains a little bit more. Another question about, we have 90 8th graders, but 85 9th graders. We never remove students that are currently enrolled in the school to get down to a board capacity. So again, if all 90 8th grade students choose to return, then we would not be able to admit any in the lottery process. So moving on, I believe I am, Ms. Froberg, you were up here with a little bit of information on activities.
Sure. So MSA has a whole slew of activities. We have a ton of sports, and we co-op with some other schools to have even offer more sports. We are members of the Minnesota State High School League. Our students do well. I mean, we have won the conference and we have many banners in our gym. We also have clubs and activities that meet before and after school. They can be from a casual club like Dungeons and Dragons to NHS and FTC and different robotics. If we don't have the club that you want, we can start it. You just need to talk to me and we will help you walk through the process of getting a club started. Our hope is we want all our students to be participating to make them feel more of our family at MSA.
Thank you, Ms. Froberg. So something that I am very passionate about, and I know others on this panel are as well, is at MSA, we have 4 kind of main expectations. It goes against some of the tradition. Traditionally, schools have rules, and rules often tell you what you can't do, like no running or no talking. We actually take that and we flip this, and you may have seen this in your current school, but we frame our expectations in the positive. So we expect students to show focus, and we expect them to have integrity, respect, and excellence. And that's kind of wherever they are in the building, in whatever they're doing. So rather than saying, as an example, no running in the hallway, we would use an expectation of walk. Because we know our students can get creative. Sometimes if we say no running, they might bring in their skateboard, right? And they didn't say, well, you didn't say I couldn't skateboard. You didn't say I couldn't ride my bike. So we use the positive and we frame it that way, and we say walk. And we have these expectations for our lunchroom, for our hallways, for our classrooms, really kind of any situation. And we frame that together. And as you can see, it spells fire. We are the dragons at MSA. And so we talk a lot about showing dragon fire with our students and staff. We wanted to give you some general curriculum background. So what I have posted here is the general requirements for graduation by the end of senior year at MSA. A lot of times I get asked, well, what makes your math better? Or what makes your school better? My answer to that is typically is that MSA really is a fit school. It's not that we're better or worse, it's that the families that come here typically want more. And so not better, but more. We require more math than most other schools. So our students have to get through calculus. They do have an option to take AP courses, which I'll get into in a moment. For science, they have to take 3 years of high school science, which includes biology, chemistry, and physics. Our Spanish requirement is also above and beyond what state requirements are. Actually, there is no official foreign language requirement for a state diploma, although most colleges do require 2 years of high school foreign language to be admitted to college. Our students get through Spanish 5, and for most of the students, that's about 6 years of Spanish, because we have Spanish 1 split into 2 years that they typically take between 6th and 7th grade. We have our students take physical education in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. That is an every other day class. They also take health education in 7th and 9th grade. That typically will alternate with Phi-Ed. We do have music options for students from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. Students can come in, they might take a world of music or a drumming class, all the way up to their elective ensembles that they can take before or after school. We have Tri-M, and so we do have some advanced music options as well. We do have art options for students. We have 6th grade and 8th grade art. They could also take an art and tech class along with drawing, painting, sculpting, ceramics, digital photography. So we have a lot of options they can take in high school as well. And that goes along with 4 years or 4 credits of English and social studies in the high school setting as well. One thing to note, after this presentation, I am going to post this PowerPoint online. The links are live here, so if you're curious or interested, you can click on that link and see our entire course guide for more information on our classes. A little bit more regarding our curriculum, we do have some PSEO and advanced course options as well. So as students get into typically sophomore year or beyond, they have an opportunity to take AP classes. That could be AP biology, it could be AP literature and composition. There are AP classes for foreign language, there's AP classes for coding. So we have a wide variety. Students also have PSEO options. So we do have students that are currently enrolled at Century College, where they're taking their college classes off of MSA's campus, although they are still MSA students. So it's just an opportunity for students to earn college credit while they're still in high school, and they can be challenged with the level that they're at. We often get asked, what's the homework load like? How much homework is my child going to have on a given evening? That can be a little challenging, but what we typically say is it's about 30 minutes per core class per night for middle school, and maybe a little bit more than that for high school. So that generally equates to an hour and a half to 2 hours a night for middle school, and 2 to 3 for high school. The caveat with that is that if a student is a little bit more organized or a little bit more efficient with their time, they can often use time in class that they're allotted, and sometimes they can go home with little to no homework if they can get that done in class. So again, if you're viewing this presentation after this evening, we do have a virtual tour of our school setup, and also we have introduction videos from each of our departments. So if you haven't watched those already, you can click on those. You can also find them by going to our website at mnmsa.org, click on the Prospective Families tab, and then go to the bottom to the virtual tour and open house. With Mrs. Gravine now with a little bit of information about our counseling.
Hello again. Yes. So as a reminder, I'm Mrs. Gravine, and I work primarily with the 9th through 12th grade students, so at the high school level of MSA. I support students in various areas. One area is I support students in the areas of social and emotional health. I also support students in the areas of scheduling. So as you saw, there's certain course requirements through the middle school and high school level. Students are making progression towards meeting graduation requirements. So I assist students in answering their questions and making sure that they have those courses that they need at the high school level. Many of our students at MSA also continue on to a 2 or 4 year college or university after graduating from MSA. And so a lot of what I do is work with students more one-on-one to make sure that they're on track and are meeting their goals and their post-secondary plans. The one thing I do love about MSA at the high school level as a counselor is that the smaller class sizes allow me to interact with students a lot more frequently, have more time for one-on-one meetings, and get to know them really well and their goals for after high school. So I do a lot of that with the students at the high school level. I assist them, as Mr. Johnson mentioned, in the PSEO process, selecting AP classes, making sure that they're meeting those goals for their class requirements throughout high school as well. And then, like I had mentioned, the small class sizes allow me to interact with students a lot more, especially at the junior and senior levels. I host junior meetings, senior meetings frequently to check in with students and making sure that they're making adequate progress towards meeting their graduation requirements and are achieving their goals and plans for life after high school.
And Ms. Knudsen.
Awesome. So I do a lot of what Mrs. Gravine does, but obviously geared a little bit towards, well, not a little bit, I gear towards middle school students as I work with 6th to 8th graders. Me and Mrs. Gravine will often use the word, we primarily work with grades blank through blank. So we are focused on our developmental level. So I work with middle school students, she works with high school students, but something that we just really like to share is if I'm not there, Mrs. Gravine is always open and willing to meet with a middle school student. Likewise, I am with high school. We definitely don't just turn away students because they're not in our grade levels. We do help all students. She just focuses more on high school based things, and I focus more on middle school with middle school students. So some of the things that I focus on are social and emotional health, like she mentioned as well. So I can talk to students a lot about peer relational struggles, kind of identity struggles that students have. Middle school is a really tough time. That's when they start to figure out who they are as a person, who they want to be as a person, what kind of views they have. Sometimes friendships start to kind of cause some problems that they didn't really expect before. And so I just help them navigate through that. And then I also work on organization and executive functioning support. Mr. Johnson always laughs at me, but organization is like my jam. I love organizing things. It is so much fun. It's really fun for me to work with students and just kind of clear out their stuff, find a new system that works for them. And then to see their academic success after that is really exciting for me to see. And then I also work on advisory lessons for students in middle school. So a part of our schedule is we have what's called an advisory time. And in that is when I'll typically do a targeted lesson, usually focused on organization or peer relational stuff. the middle school schedules don't have a ton of openings like a study hall. So for me to pull students from class is a little bit trickier to meet with everybody. So this is a good way for me to kind of reach all the students. And then I'm also very present in the lunchroom, in the hallways. I do pop into classes sometimes when there's some fun activities going on, just so students can see my face so that they know who I am and that they can come and see me.
All right, and before we wrap up, I would be remiss if I didn't give Mr. Gabretsky a few minutes to address the families. I know he's got a little saying about kind of how he views the success of our families here at MSA.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, and I apologize for being a little predisposed earlier. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in chat in case they weren't answered. Fundamentally, I would like to just let you know that, you know, MSA has been extremely successful, and especially in the past 6 and 7 years. And I really put the whole reason for our success is what I call the triangle of success. And in order for our students to be the best possible people that they can be, and to go out into the world and do fantastic, wonderful things, we rely on really 3 parts of our community, our staff, and our students. It's a triangle. It's an equilateral triangle, for those of you that know what that is. All sides are equal, and all sides are as important as the other. And those 3 sides are the students. We have to have fantastic students that are willing to work. They can't shy away from work, because we do demand a lot from our students, but we also provide a lot of support. And that's the second part is our staff. The staff that we have at this school are not surpassed by any other staff in the state. They are going to be here to support you and to push you and probably prod you along and pull you in some cases, because you may not think you have the skills and the characteristics within you that they see, and they are going to draw that out of you and help you to become this fantastic, wonderful person that if you stay at the school the entire time you're, you know, from 6th grade on, those 7 years, you're going to be a phenomenal person that you probably wouldn't recognize if you look back and took a video of yourself in 6th grade. The other part of it, so that's 2 out of the 3 sides of the triangle. The other part is our parents. We really encourage our parents to be involved. We want them to be involved. They have to be involved, because they are a vital link to your entire educational process. And we encourage parents to continually talk with with the teachers and their students. If we have a student that gets a lot of accolades, we encourage them to talk to their parents. Just like if they're going through a challenge in life and we need to talk with them, we want the parents involved. We really, really, truly believe this triangle of success is what will lead to success down the road and create students that will be lifelong learners. And that's really our goal, is to put out and produce students that are really global citizens, that are concerned about their community and positive contributors. Hopefully, you will like what you see at MSA and apply, and then be lucky enough to be drawn and become part of our community. And if you don't, you can always apply, and there's always next year. There are opportunities to join MSA. We really would hope you would apply, and hopefully you'll be able to join our wonderful community. I can't think of any better staff in the state. I love this job. I love this school, and it's phenomenal. I hope you can be part of it. Thank you for your time tonight.
All right, and finally here with our little thank you slide. This is the end of our presentation, but we are going to hang out for a little while. I'm going to come back through the chat and pull out the questions that we can certainly answer. But if you have questions or you think of something to follow up, please use our information here. Our email addresses are all on the website as well, and we're happy to answer your questions as best we're able if you think of something after this evening. So I'm going to stop with my screen share, and we're going to circle back to the comments here. And then I guess for the admin team that are here, I'll just kind of address it. So one question is about music opportunities. So I've addressed that a little bit. We do have music opportunities starting right away in 6th grade, both with either band, which students can opt into or elect to take, or we have a World of Music or drumming class that is a semester-long class for 6th graders. So question regarding Spanish requirement. If a child already speaks multiple languages but is not Spanish, are they still required to take Spanish? And the answer to that is yes. So I've gotten the question a couple of times. We do have a Spanish placement test for those that do come from maybe Spanish immersion or do speak Spanish already. They would actually just be placed into a higher level Spanish course as opposed to the Spanish 1A, which is where most 6th graders get placed. And the same would be true for math. So we do have a Spanish placement test and a math placement test that we use to make sure the students are placed in a class that is at their current ability level. What is that? Spanish immersion. The question was asked, are there private transportation companies from Minneapolis? This is probably in relation to the transportation boundaries. I would answer that in that while there are transportation companies that are out there, we're hesitant to promote or endorse that as a school. Our concern is always the safety of students. And we want to know who's getting picked up by whom and after school. And if that is a private company, that would concern us. So if transportation is an issue and you live outside of the 833 boundaries, that is something that you would have to work out, though we would discourage private transportation companies due to safety concerns. If you have more questions with that, please reach out to us so we can talk to you about your situation. What are the odds of getting admitted in 6th grade if there's no sibling or staff connection? Ms. Punstack, can you maybe address that?
Okay. It depends on how many applications we receive, how many siblings we have applications for. So if we had 50 or 20 applications for siblings, that would mean that there's 68 spots available to non-siblings. What I tell parents each year, parents and guardians that ask me, is I would say over the last 5 years, you probably have about a 25% chance of being admitted.
And then a follow-up, different person, if a 6th grader applies and a 10th grader applies from one family, is there a chance that one student is accepted via lottery and the other will not?
That is correct. The reason being is because if your 6th grader was admitted and then your 10th grader would be put on the sibling wait list, we might not have openings for 10th grade the entire school year. So that happens often. It happens every year where a sibling doesn't get in because of that reason.
Yeah, and to clarify further, we start with the 6th grade process. So if a 6th grader is admitted and they have siblings in the school, their siblings then automatically do go to the sibling wait list. That would also be true in the case of a twin. So if we have a twin, one of them could be admitted, the other may not, but the twin would be put on the sibling wait list. If we have multiple siblings for a sibling wait list, then we hold the same lottery process to then determine the order for that, the sibling wait list as well. So we follow the same process through and through so that it is a random order. So we do we give a lot of homework? We kind of address that about 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours per night for middle school and about 2 to 3 for high school. Of course, that depends on the course load. High school students, we have some that take 3 or 4 AP classes. They're going to have a much higher course load than somebody that's not taking AP classes. Middle school students in particular, if they can use their time wisely, they can oftentimes get their homework done in class, and they might go home with a half hour or an hour and not 1 to 2. So some of that depends on efficiency. Do graduation requirements, this is a great question, do graduation requirements vary for transfer students? And the short answer for that is no. Our graduation requirements are our graduation requirements. That being said, if they're transferring in, let's say they came in 10th grade, they would get to transfer in their credits they earned in 9th grade. And then we also but we also try to get them caught up. So they do still have to get through calculus, for example, in math, but we do have kind of a hybrid class that allows them to make up a little bit of ground as a junior to get caught up for the math requirement. And their Spanish requirement does look a little different as well. If they come in as a 9th grader, they just have to take and pass Spanish all 4 years that they're at MSA. They wouldn't have to get through Spanish 5, it would just be Spanish 4 in that case. So again, if you have questions on graduation requirements, please reach out to Ms. Gravine. She works very closely with the high school students on graduation requirements and making sure they're on track, and she'd be best able to answer that question. Kind of running out of questions here. Ms. Gravine, what is the average or matriculation percentage or rate of graduates to a 4-year university? So percent of our seniors that graduate, and also how many go on to college?
Yeah, so I'd say it varies a little bit, obviously year to year, but anywhere between, I'd say 95% to 100% of students will attend a 2 or 4 year university after graduating from MSA.
Thank you. I'm just kind of getting lots of questions, maybe more than I thought. Lots of questions about the Spanish. I will tell you, maybe to elaborate on that, a lot of our students that come from Spanish immersion still end up starting MSA Spanish in Spanish 1A. And that is really just because of the focus of the Spanish department. A lot of immersion practice is done orally. And our Spanish department really focuses also on reading, writing, grammar, in addition to the spoken language. So while the students are often very fluent verbally, they aren't as fluent in written or reading, and that's where they kind of get caught up with our Spanish 1A. So a lot of our Spanish immersion students still start in Spanish 1A. This question asks, are there any sports? We do have a handful of Minnesota State High School League sports and also a number of activities. You can look on our website for kind of a full list or more information regarding those. How do 6th graders get signed up for classes or pick the right one? That's a great question. We don't actually, in 6th grade, the only true elective is band. Outside of band, there's just kind of a standard slate of classes that students take. Besides, they, see if I can get them all here. They have English, math, science, social studies. We combine alternate a study skills with Phi-Ed, and then we also have other enrichment classes, probably in art and a world of music or drumming. If they choose band, they would not be in art or world of music, but they still would take Phi-Ed and study skills. I just had a moment there. So in middle school in general, we also don't have elective classes in the same sense that other schools might. We call them enrichment classes. Because our schedule is so difficult to put together, we don't have a lot of options, and we have to just place students into some classes. So in middle school, band is one of the true elective classes that kids can choose to take or not. Otherwise, they just have the enrichment classes that we have available. And Ms. Froberg, can you talk a little bit about National Honor Society?
We do have a National Honor Society, and the students apply typically in their 10th grade year or 11th, depending if they've gotten in. It is a traditional NHS. It is a long process to get in, and it's a lot of work. So you have to really be dedicated to that club.
And we do not have a junior National Honor Society, but we do have the National Honor Society for students as they get through high school. Ms. Punsack, do you have the lottery results date again off the top of your head?
Parents and guardians will be receiving an email on February 26th.
Okay.
And the lottery is held February 9th.
The lottery is held, and the lottery, just to remind you, the lottery is open to the public. So if you would like to come, you may come watch. Otherwise, the results are sent out after the board of directors approves the lottery results. Once they approve the lottery results, you'll be notified if you were selected. Let me back up. Once they approve the lottery results, you'll be notified whether you were selected or whether you were placed on the wait list. And then if you were selected, Ms. Punsack will contact you about accepting your position. And if people don't accept their position by a certain date, then we go to the wait list and we start taking the name off that list. If you're put on the wait list and you do not ultimately get accepted into the school as a sixth grader, you would need to reapply the following year. We do not roll wait lists over from year to year. However, once you are admitted to the school, you do not need to reapply. You are automatically returning to the school unless you notify us that you are going to. And I think that is about it. We do have just a minute or two left. If you do have any follow-up questions for us, please feel free to reach out. We do have additional information on the website, including a virtual tour of the school and the campus, as well as some informative videos from our departments. So with that, I will bid you adieu for the night, and thank you for coming.